claim that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, warned President Trump against a possible U.S. military strike on Iran, and the president's shocking public denial of it. This controversy has split newsrooms, stirred political debate, and raised serious questions about what America's top military advisor is really saying behind closed doors, versus what the president wants the world to hear. Multiple U.S. news outlets, including the Washington Post, Axios, and the Wall Street Journal, reported that during a high-level White House meeting, General Dan Kane privately warned President Trump about the risks of striking Iran. According to these reports, Kane told Trump that a military campaign could drag the U.S. into a prolonged conflict, lead to American casualties, strain munitions stockpiles, and leave the U.S. short on key defensive weapons, because they've already been used to support allies like Israel and Ukraine. General Kane didn't publicly say he was against war, but officials familiar with the discussions said his tone was cautious. He reportedly described Iran as a far more complex opponent than the U.S. has faced in recent conflicts. President Trump took to his social media platform on Monday to blast the reports, calling them 100% incorrect and accusing the media of spreading fake news. Trump insisted that General Kane has not spoken against war. Kane believes any military action against Iran would be easily won, and, if ordered, the general would lead it to win. Trump also emphasized that he makes the final decision and that he prefers diplomacy. But if talks fail, Iran will face tough consequences. So here's the key. There's a disconnect between what media reports say Kane privately warned about and what Trump publicly claims the general supports. Inside sources told outlets like Axios and the Washington Post that Kane has indeed raised serious concerns about depleted weapons stockpiles, lack of allied support, high casualty risks, and the possibility of becoming entangled in a long conflict if Iran reacts strongly. But Trump's statement frames Kane as confident in victory, not cautious. This kind of split between internal deliberations and public messaging isn't unheard of in U.S. foreign policy, but it's rare for it to break into headlines like this. At its core, this is not just about one general and one president. This debate touches on whether U.S. military leaders should publicly oppose civilian decisions, the credibility of U.S. media reporting on national security, and how transparent leadership should be when millions of Americans could be affected by a decision to go to war. A strike against Iran would not be like a quick missile test. Iran is a large, heavily defended country with regional allies and proxy forces that could retaliate. Experts say Iran could use asymmetrical tactics, allied support is uncertain, and war could quickly expand beyond a few airstrikes. Even the notion of a limited strike, one designed only to send a message or degrade certain capabilities, carries risks. Iran is not ignoring this. Iran's leadership has publicly warned that any attack would be met with severe retaliation. For Tehran, such a strike isn't just military, it's a national existential threat. At the same time, Iranian officials have said they are willing to negotiate, but they reject a long list of U.S. demands, including restrictions on missile development and regional support for proxy forces. And recently, Iran conducted live fire drills near the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic waterway for global oil shipments, adding another layer of geopolitical tension to the standoff. While some advisors push for military options, others urge diplomatic patience. Trump's team reportedly includes envoys in Geneva negotiating with Iran, leaders examining diplomatic paths that could avoid war, and officials from Central Command, though some haven't been briefed publicly in weeks. This mix of military build-up and diplomatic talks suggests the U.S. is trying both pressure and negotiation at the same time, a classic geopolitical balancing act. If talks succeed, a deal could ease tensions. If they fail, Trump has indicated a willingness to consider military strikes, but the scale, timing, and consequences are far from certain. Let's be clear, Going to war with Iran would be one of the most serious U.S. military decisions in decades. It could impact oil prices worldwide, drag the U.S. into a lengthy conflict, affect U.S. troops in the region, involve allies or adversaries indirectly. And yet, much of this debate is happening away from public view, in closed meetings where generals, diplomats, and advisors weigh options that could shape the next decade. That disconnect between private caution and public statements is why this story has captured international attention